Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. We'd like to welcome you to Women's Health and Women's Hands Community Health Center. We are one of the province's community health centers, and I think you'll be joining us today for what I think will be a substantive announcement in the lives of women. I'd like to welcome Minister Naidoo-Harris for a return visit to Women's Health and Women's Hands, as well as my esteemed colleague, Sarah Hobbs-Blythe, who's the Executive Director of Planned Parenthood Toronto, as well as, we are very proud to say, the Chair of the Board of the Association of Ontario Health Centers. I also want to welcome Minister, the Attorney General, Naqvi. It's a pleasure to have you at our center for the first time. I had the pleasure of meeting you earlier in the year to discuss family court fees and the impact on women, and the care and compassion that you displayed in your ultimate decision to ensure that all women have equal access to our court system, especially those experiencing violence, was a very rewarding experience to witness. So we thank you for your strong commitment to women in this province, and I think today is a continuation of showing us that commitment, particularly to the women of Ontario. I'd like to welcome Minister Naidoo-Harris to come and join us and provide some opening welcoming remarks and to introduce our Attorney General of Ontario.
Thank you, Natisha, for that lovely introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Bonjour, bonjour, Annie. You know, it's so good to be here with you all today and to look out over the crowd and see so many familiar faces and so many people here today that I know are very interested in the important announcement we're about to make. So I can't tell you how pleased I am to be here with you all today to make this important announcement. And I want to thank all of you for taking the time out of your busy days to come here and to be here and join here with us today. I'd like to start, of course, by recognizing that we are gathered on the traditional territory of many Indigenous peoples going back countless generations, and I want to show my respect for this history and for the ongoing contributions and achievements of Indigenous peoples in Ontario and Canada. I want to thank Women's Health in Women's Hands for hosting us here today and for all that you do every day to support women in our community during difficult, challenging times. I can't think of a better place. I can't think of a better place than Women's Health in Women's Hands to make this important announcement about supporting women's access to health care, human rights, and reproductive choices. You all work tirelessly every day to break down barriers so that all women have access to excellent health care. So, thank you for your vision, thank you for your hard work, and thank you for your dedication. And I want you to know that this is also what our government is working to do under the leadership of our Premier, Kathleen Wynne. We are all working to make sure that everyone has equal access to our amazing healthcare system. And we're all working to make sure that women have access to abortion services free from the threat or fear of violence, harassment, or intimidation. And we are all working to make sure that women and girls are safe, strong, and successful with access to equal opportunities. And that includes a woman's right to choose, to make her own decisions about her body, her reproductive health, and her future. It's about fairness, it's about safety, it's about dignity, and it's about basic human rights. So that's why I'm so pleased to be here with you all today. Today, Ontario is taking a historic step forward toward the protection of clinics, facilities, and most importantly, people, the people that provide vital abortion services to women in need. Today's announcement will make safety and security paramount and uphold a woman's right to choose in Ontario. You know, October is Women's History Month, and the theme of Women's History Month is Claim Your Place. The announcement we are making today absolutely helps women claim their place. It says women will not be intimidated, women will not be harassed, women will not be bullied when trying to obtain access to abortion services. It says that access to abortion services is a basic human right. In Ontario, women are claiming their place and standing their ground in their places of work, their communities, and yes, when accessing reproductive health care. 3 months ago today, I stood right here at Women's Health in Women's Hands to make another important announcement to expand access to women's reproductive health care by making the abortion pill, Mifegymiso, available at no cost to women who need it. So women could access abortion without payment, without judgment, and without exception. So women would have more independence and more choice over their reproductive health. So I want you to know that I am proud that we are delivering on our vision for women and girls in this province. A vision for safety and security, a vision for equality and fairness, and a vision for empowerment and opportunity for our daughters, our sisters, and our mothers. Thank you to all of you here today for working tirelessly to support that vision. Thank you for being strong advocates for women's rights and women's reproductive rights. Together, we can help women and girls succeed, because when women succeed, we all succeed. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce my good friend and colleague, the Attorney General, Yasir Naqvi. You know, I've known Yasir for years, and I want you to know that he takes the protection of rights of all Ontarians very seriously. I also want you to know that he takes the announcement today very seriously. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce to all of you the Attorney General of Ontario, the Honourable Yasir Naqvi.
Thank you very much, Indira, for that very inspiring remarks and your very kind introduction. And thanks for your tireless advocacy in promoting women every single day, the work that you do on behalf of the government across the province. And good afternoon to everyone. It's a great honor for me to be here. It's my first time visiting Women's Health in Women's Hands, so I'm very happy to be here. Natisha, thank you for your welcome, and to your entire team. And look forward to hoping to have a little tour afterwards as well. I think we all know that the staff here do critical work to help women in Toronto and the Greater Toronto Area to make informed choices about their health care. I also want to thank Planned Parenthood Toronto, Choice in Health Clinic, the Ontario Coalition for Abortion Clinics, the Association of Midwives, the Ontario Nurses Association, and the Reproductive Justice Committee for joining here today as well for this very important announcement, and for engaging with us as we work towards developing this legislation over the summer months. I know we worked in a very short period of time, and we asked for a lot of your time, and thank you for sharing your expertise and your knowledge with us, because we think, and I hope you will agree, that what we will announce today and table in the House is really going to make a significant difference in protecting women in our province. I am very proud to be here today to announce that this afternoon I intend to introduce legislation that will send a very clear message that our government will always stand up for a woman's right to choose. As a strong believer in this fundamental right, I'm humbled to be in the company of so many colleagues, courageous leaders, and advocates. Days like today are part of the reason why I got into politics. As a student, as a lawyer, and later as a politician, I have continuously sought to defend a woman's right to choose and to feel safe while doing so. It is also my steadfast belief that every woman in Ontario has the right to make decisions about her own health care, and they deserve to do so freely, without fear for her safety, privacy, or dignity, without fear of being judged or publicly shamed because of her choice, without fear of being threatened with violence, harassment, or intimidation. No woman should ever have to take such things into account, and neither should the healthcare professionals who provide abortion services when they are just trying to get to work in the morning like the rest of us. Our government firmly believes that the choice to access abortion services is a deeply personal one. Patients have the right to access abortion services safely and securely with their privacy maintained, free from any intimidation or interference. Over the past several months, we have heard reports that anti-abortion protest activities have increased across the province. In my hometown of Ottawa, protests at the Morgentaler Clinic have reportedly escalated, and we have heard similar reports from clinics and facilities right here in Toronto. While I strongly support everyone's fundamental right to freedom of expression, our laws must balance that right with keeping people safe. Activities that jeopardize the health, safety, security, and privacy of patients and providers are not acceptable. 4 months ago, I announced on behalf of our government that we will take action to address this issue. And so, over the summer months, my ministry began looking at other jurisdictions like British Columbia, Quebec, Newfoundland, and Labrador, who already have similar laws to learn from their approach. And to ensure the changes we were considering would work for our province, we consulted with legal and healthcare experts, advocacy groups, and clinics in Ontario. After our consultations, I'm pleased to say that we have found a progressive way forward. The bill we are proposing today, if passed, would allow for safe access zones to be created in locations where abortion services are provided. This will include locations where mifepristone, the abortion pill, is prescribed or dispensed as well, which is now available, as you heard, at no cost to women who need it, thanks to the work my colleague, Minister Naidu-Harris, did, and you, the advocates, have done over the years. In these designated areas, anti-abortion protest activities or interference and harassment of people accessing or providing abortion services would be prohibited. To start, there are 8 abortion clinics in Ontario that would automatically be protected through these safe access zones. The size of the safe access zones around clinics would be 50 meters, but this size could be decreased or increased up to 150 meters by regulation. Other facilities that provide abortion services, like hospitals, health centers, and pharmacies, would be able to apply for safe access zones or up to 150 meters as well. The changes would, if passed, also contain measures to ensure that the providers of these services are protected on the job and at home. Clinic staff and health professionals who provide abortion services would automatically receive safe access zones of 150 meters around their homes that would protect them against behavior that targets them. This would help to protect providers who work at several offices located in different places as well. Finally, the proposed legislation, if passed, would protect all providers of abortion services from harassing conduct related to their work wherever they are. We feel strongly that this is an important protection, not only for the women who have the right to access these services, but all of you who work in this area and provide these very important services to the women in our province. We still have a lot of work ahead of us. And I know some people will not agree with our approach. But that cannot and will not diminish our resolve, because I believe that policies like this are more important now than ever. In an increasingly polarized society, it is critical that we protect a woman's right to choose. It is critical that those protections be enshrined in law to ensure that they cannot be rolled back. And it is critical that we have consistent protections in place for those who exercise this right across our province without any exception. It is the right thing to do. Thank you again for your advocacy. Thank you again for your hard work day in and day out. And Indira and I, our Premier and our government, look forward to continue working with you. Thank you very much. I'm going to now ask a good friend of yours, Sarah Hobbs-Blythe of Planned Parenthood Toronto, to come forward and say a few words.
Thank
Sarah.
you very much.
Thank you.
Reproductive justice is a complete experience, a state of well-being that hinges on safe access to the services a person needs to make decisions about their own body. Reproductive justice is a holistic movement where health centers, activist groups, communities, individuals, and government work together to protect a hard-earned healthcare model that allows for choice. Planned Parenthood Toronto is honored to be here today to partake in the success of that model, to be among the advocates of choice. We applaud the Ministry of the Attorney General for including the Safe Access Zone legislation and doing so in a matter of months and with a deep commitment to community consultation. On behalf of a coalition of pro-choice organizations, we thank Attorney General Yasir Naqvi for introducing such strong legislation that puts patients first. We celebrate today 150-meter radiuses, automatic protections for dedicated abortion clinics, and legislation that is designed to grow with our ever-evolving world. The Safe Access Zone bill protects choice, no matter what comes of anti-abortion tactics now or in the future. Health equity cannot be achieved within the four walls of a clinic alone. It begins first with getting to that clinic. This bill is for those activating their right to safe, legal abortion procedures. It tells them that their decisions, their bodies, are their own. But safe access zones are not only about reproductive options. At a health center like Planned Parenthood Toronto, we offer comprehensive care, including mental health, sexual health, and primary health care services. From abortion to flu shots and everything in between, the Safe Access Zone bill means that people won't face anti-choice intimidation when prioritizing their well-being. For us, this bill is for the 14-year-old trying to access contraception and non-judgmental, unbiased resources to make an informed decision about whether or not he is ready for sex. This bill is for the single mother reaching out for community, support, and a much-needed break in our young parents program, who doesn't want her child witnessing gratuitous and inflammatory images along the way. This bill is for the trans person who wants to receive hormone therapy in a health setting that never once questions their gender and acknowledges that one day they too may want access to abortion services. This bill is for pharmacists, nurse practitioners, and physicians who know that prescribing the abortion pill is the right decision, but don't want to risk their family's safety by having protesters in front of their homes. We're proud of our representation today. We watch progress rise from activism to health advocacy to the introduction of this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sarah, for your advocacy. Thank you for your very strong words of encouragement. Both Indira and I owe a huge gratitude to you. We are here to answer questions to the media. People who engage in any of the prohibited activities that are outlined in the legislation, they will face fines of up to $5,000 and or imprisonment up to 6 months for their first offense. For second and subsequent offenses, we are looking at fines between $1,000 and $10,000 and or imprisonment or up to 12 months should it is ordered by a judge.
What do the safe access zones actually look like? I mean, will you have security? How do you plan to, regulate this area around it?
Yeah. So safe access zones, and as I mentioned, they already exist in places like British Columbia. So it's an area where no protest activity is allowed. So what we're saying, for example, the 8 abortion services clinics in Ontario, there's going to be at least an automatic safe access zone of 50 meters. 50 meters, if you can just think of an Olympic-sized swimming pool, is 50 meters along, so that and that will be from the edge of the property, the outside boundary of the property. So there could be protest activity that take place, but it has to be outside that zone. And the idea is simple, that women should have a free access, easy access to these clinics without somebody stopping them, without somebody subjecting them to imagery that could be very traumatic and disturbing for the person, without interfering in their access by offering them counseling services on a street corner, or as we saw in my hometown of Ottawa, a woman was spat on, which is assault. So these are access zones. These are making sure that there is a clear passage, a safe passage for women and the workers who work in these clinics anywhere in the province where the clinics are located.
Minister, some of this is already covered under a temporary order that's decades old by a judge. Does this expand that or just take that ruling and make it into law?
So, very good question. So, I think a lot of us, including myself, were under the impression for some time that there's injunctions in place and these sites are protected. And for me personally, when I learned of the incidents that they were taking place at the Morgentaler Clinic in Ottawa, which is located in my own community of Ottawa Centre, I said the same thing. Wasn't there injunction in place? And what I learned that there are a couple of injunctions to few particular sites only. In fact, one of them has expired. So this legislation, the timing of it cannot be more important, because what we're doing with this legislation is making sure that there is a harmonized regime in place. There's a universal protection for all abortion clinics across the province, for the homes of healthcare providers, no matter if they work in an abortion clinic or in a hospital setting or a pharmacy or a community health center, if they provide those services to women and reproductive health services. So that is why this legislation is very important, because those injunctions, or the one remaining, is very limited in scope and does not cover the entire province.
And you said to protect workers wherever they are. Did you mean just at home and at work, or grocery store, movie theater, schools?
It would extend to in their other lives as well. If somebody is out there to sort of harass them and intimidate them and following them around, and with the intention of, that would not be permitted in this legislation.
Advanced restraining order.
Something on those lines, yeah.
And how will that work? Will they have to apply, for example, for their home to be one of these safe zones, or?
Good question. So the homes will be protected automatically. Of course, in our regulation, the names and addresses of individuals will not be listed for privacy reasons. It is an automatic protection that will be provided for. Our intention is working along with the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care through the respective associations that represent a lot of these workers. We will do the awareness so that all these individuals know that they are protected. And if somebody is then targeting them or protesting in their home, they would just a matter for them to call the police, and then the police will take care of the rest.
Do we know how many individuals you're referring to? It must be many in the entire province.
There will be, and we don't have those accurate numbers, and we will of course determine that across the province. But we do recognize one thing, that all these healthcare professionals and clinic staff do very important work, and they should not be under any threat or harassment, themselves or their families, whether it's their home or their work setting.
Maybe one last thing about this safe zone, I apologize. How are you going to enforce that 15-meter area? Will there be security? I'm just trying to visualize.
No, the law, if passed, will say that this is a safe access zone and you cannot have protest activity. And if somebody breaches that, then police will have powers to enforce the law.
So will there be signs around saying that these are safe access zones, letting people know?
That's not the intention, that there will be signage. There may be proper communication. We've reached out to Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police as well, and as the bill is working through the legislature, we will do more proactive engagement with our police services, because then it will be up to local police services to then let protesters know that there's a law and these are the boundaries, and they should respect that. Let me also be very clear that in our regulations, especially when it comes to the 8 abortion clinics, you will see detailed sort of drawings as to what those lines and demarcations lines are. So the law will be transparent in that regard, so somebody can see, okay, if a clinic is located at a particular street, what are the 50-meter boundaries are for their safe access zone, and they can govern themselves accordingly.
You're talking about abortion.
So let me just finish that and come to you.
Are there only 8 abortion clinics in the province, or you've chosen 8?
There are only 8 dedicated abortion clinics in the province. We will make sure the way we have written the legislation, if there's a more that open up, then they will be automatically protected as well in the legislation. If they move from one side to the other, that protection will carry with them automatically as well. Sorry.
I guess I was wondering, you're talking about putting people in jail though for protesting in these zones. And you're talking about quite a number of zones, whether it be outside of pharmacies, potentially, or people's homes. So how will people know? Will there be a central repository where you're actually going to list where all of these zones are?
So the regulations will have that information, not of personal homes, but other clinics, etc. Automatic protection zones, and if by application they've been given protection zone, be it a pharmacy, hospital, or a community health center, for instance, that information will be available in a regulation.
Mr. Attorney General, Patrick Brown has issued a statement, and in it he says that he's pro-choice, but he's accusing the government of wanting to reopen divisive social debates. Your reaction?
So let me be very clear. Ensuring women's safety is not a divisive issue. It may be a divisive issue. It may be a divisive issue in the Conservative caucus, but you can ask any of these advocates that unfortunately women are being harassed, are being threatened, are being intimidated for just merely exercising their right to get healthcare services. And this government will not tolerate this, and that's why we're bringing forward this legislation.
I guess further to my colleague's question, though, there's an election next year, and it seems like you guys worked fast on this bill. You guys don't always work very fast on bills.
Yeah, because it's about women's safety. And as soon as I learned in my own community that a woman was spat on for just simply going to get healthcare service, action was needed. And we worked as hard as we could to get this legislation here. And I want to thank the advocates that they worked with us in the summer very hard. We've had many, many conversations to get this right. That is our #1 job, is to protect people, to protect people's right. That's my #1 job as the Attorney General. And there's nothing more important to my colleague and I, to our Premier and our government, is to protect women's right to choose.
Does your legislation go further than any other province to date, and are you worried about court challenges?
So we would like to think that we are going to be leading in the country because I think there has been a lot of advancement that has been made in our understanding as to the different kind of services that are being provided around just not abortion services, but reproductive health services as well. I think the introduction of Mifigamiso and the fact that it will be available under OHIP in Ontario, where community health centers like the clinic we're here right now, or pharmacy will be able to dispense or prescribe, changes that equation as well. So yes, we have moved forward. But let me be very clear, we have worked very hard from a constitutional point of view to strike the right balance. We are not denying people's right to protest. They are free to express themselves. It has to be done in a manner that does not prevent a woman accessing safely healthcare services. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you all for being here. Look forward to seeing you in the House in an hour or so when we introduce this legislation. Thank you.